This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Blessings, greetings, and good fortune, everybody. Another Thursday, here a rainy day in McAllen, Texas. We're coming at you from 97.7 KCYP, The City, out of McAllen, Texas. We're filming and recording this in the McAllen Creative Incubator. We're also going out on Facebook, YouTube, Radio Garden, and TuneIn Radio. Those last two are apps that you can listen to radio stations all over the world. And I haven't been all over the world, but I've listened to radio stations from all over the world with those apps. Glad that you can make it. I'm going to get into our Facebook feed here and see if anybody has any comments, issues, or anything else they want to talk about. And we're coming up, it looks like. Yeah, we're live. All right. We got a little delay, but we're going to deal with that. I know that some of you who are regulars on the show, you're regulars, you stick with us, and man, we love you. We really do. I really appreciate the fact that you spend your time with us, that you are involved, and you're throwing out comments and stuff. I have had guests, very good guests, by the way. If you haven't seen them for whatever reason, you can go back 2 weeks to see. Basically, it's our hopefully going to be one of our new sponsors, and the owner of which is Julian. And I'll tell you, just watch the show. Julian Silva he's with Concord Hospice Care. Okay, so check it out. You're going to enjoy it. It's informative. Okay. Yeah, it sounds hospice. It's not real. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to get something out of it. Then the next one, okay, is a gentleman running for sheriff in Starr County named Albert Olivares. Okay, check out those shows. Good interviews, interesting, and you'll learn something. I guarantee you're going to learn something out of it. But I said to myself, Self, we got to get back to this craziness. We took 2 weeks off. Clown World does not take a day off. It's crazy out there. It's nuts. And I wanted to talk about so much stuff. So here we are today. Let's see if we have any comments going on. It says here, swipe left. Matt, good to see you. Alex Cantu, you're up. Matt says something, but I can't see it. Okay, Matty D in the house. All right. We are ready. We are ready, guys. We got some stuff this week. Throw your comments up if you want to talk about stuff. But we're going to go with the regular stuff first, okay? And then we'll work on to the next. The economic barometer, if you will. Gold is at $2,013 an ounce. It's still above $2,000. So you know that, in my opinion, smart people are getting into it. But remember, I am not a financial advisor in any sense of the word, okay? So silver, $23.19 an ounce. And, whoa, oh, how's this go? Bitcoin, have you checked it out lately? Excuse me. Got to clear my throat for this one. $52,600 as of pre-show. I see Renee behind the camera there. He's like, wow, his eyes open up a little bit. Yeah, so it's on a tear. Personally, I'm going to wait till it comes back a little bit and buy a little bit. But that's me. You guys do what, how you feel. You want to invest or not, whatever. It's up to you, but it's on a tear. Average mortgage rate, 30-year rate is 7.1. Not nice, everybody. Not nice at all. Jaime, Sue. Matt says silver's going to boom, my friends. Yes. And you know what? Right now, and this is the way, and I've said this before, silver is the buy. Silver is something obtainable for just about any, not all, but just about any budget. Silver is attainable. Jaime says he's looking for Siete. Where's Siete? I haven't seen Siete on the comments list. I think he watches it on the recording. He'll put it on the after the show. But I haven't seen him, Jaime. Sorry, and I'm not about to hoof it all the way over to Columbia to go find him. Not right now, anyway. Maybe after the show. So the 15-year rate, excuse me, that frog just jumped in there just before the show. I was fine. So 6.52 for a 15-year rate. It's still way too high. I don't know if anybody's seen used cars, but there's a really good scene where the guy's with a shotgun at his competitor's car lot yelling, "It's too high." And it was a little bit more severe than that. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to start today, okay, with something that I really feel passionate about. I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you are also patriots. You know that I am, and I know you are patriots. We love this country. Many of us have served this country in one capacity or another. So when I pray for me, my family, my loved ones, my friends, all of those people that I pray for, I also like to pray for the country. But I want to share something with you from God's word. Okay, it's from Joel 2:13. So I want to share this verse with you. It's actually two combined. But listen to this, and then I want to kind of share with you, and maybe you guys could also pray in your time that we make it through this craziness. Joel 2:13. Rend your heart and not your garments. And I'll explain that in a minute. Rend your heart, not your garments. Return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in love. And he relents from sending calamity. That is what I pray for. I pray for his love. I pray for all of the things that God has taught me he is, who he is. But I'm really praying in this time that he does not send calamity, because, ladies and gents, we deserve it. If we're not doing this stuff personally, we are indeed, how would you say, guilty by association, because we share a country with these people, and thus far we have done nothing to keep them from destroying it. But we're on the way. It's coming. The good guys are winning. Now, let me look at my comments here. Marcos, good to see you. Matt says, let's discuss Fannie Willis and her corruption. She's an evil woman. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And I don't know if I have it in my notes, but I saw a video that we'll talk about a little bit later. So back to this verse, rend your heart and not your garments. In the Jewish culture, Judaism, they would rip their garments when they sinned or when they were alarmed. They would rip. What God wants us to do is he wants us to look into our hearts and be affected by what's going on. Rend your heart, not your garments. Be affected about what's going on. I can tell you right now, I am affected by what's going on. This is crazy. But again, I still believe that the good guys are going to win this. 1. 2, we got a lot more craziness to go on through this year. Now, a little bit of crypto news for you. This worm, SEC Chair Gensler, warns of Bitcoin's role in ransomware, advocates for centralized money. Oh, gee, what do you think, Mr. Gensler? Maybe you're getting paid to say that? I think you are. United States Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler spoke about Bitcoin, stating that it is the leading market share for ransomware attacks. Thanks, Gary. Nothing to, there's nobody ever had a kidnapping plan. Nobody ever hatched a ransomware plan for cash or anything, electronically, digitally transferred from one account to another. That never happened, right, Gary? All right. In his statement, he called Bitcoin a speculative, volatile asset that is also used for illicit activity. You think the U.S. dollar was ever used for illicit activity? You think it's being used for good stuff in Ukraine? Including ransomware, said Gary, money laundering, sanction evasions, and terrorist financing. Wow, sanction evasions. See, their muffin is still frosted because they know that Russia is winning because of those sanctions. Idiots. Bitcoin.com says, Bitcoin has become the world's most popular investment asset, says MicroStrategy chairman Michael Saylor. Now, I've had, this comments before. He's only a billionaire, right? He only owns 190,000 Bitcoin, him and his venture capitalist fund, MicroStrategies. He noted that following the rebalancing after the launch of spot Bitcoin exchange traded ETFs, ladies and gents, ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, the crypto has found its footing, and now people are beginning to realize that there's 10 times as much demand for Bitcoin coming in through these ETFs as there is supply. Do you get that, everybody? According to a billionaire, Michael Saylor, he says that there's 10 times more demand than supply because of these ETFs. Just saying, just saying. Let's see here. Got to get these comments up here. Luis, good to see you. Sue says, you and your muffins. Yeah, my sister has this thing. I say, hey, that frost in your muffin, that frost their muffin, that, the sanctions aren't working against Russia. I've used that before, and she says it doesn't compute frosting muffins. I don't know. Does anybody put frosting in a muffin? I don't know. Jaime says, people normalize 7/8. No way. Rates will drop 3/4 in 3 years. You don't think so? Is that a no way? As in, it's going to or not, Jaime? I don't think so. Let's discuss Carlos Danger and his pension for young boys. Jaime, wow, you've been doing your homework. Wow. Matt, did you hear that? He knows who Carlos Danger is. We'll get on that. I got a bunch of stuff to do, but Carlos Danger was he's an evil dude. Sue says frost my cookies. Oh, we got to frost the cookies, not the muffins. So Carlos Danger is a name that the sick and twisted John Podesta used. How do we know this? Because as they have denied for years, but we of course knew they were lying, the Hunter Biden laptop is real, and so were the emails that were on the DNC computer that Seth Rich paid with for his life when he was killed. I'll go into this. We should probably do a whole show on this one of these days, but this stuff goes back years, guys. So John Podesta was the campaign manager at one point for Hillary Clinton. And yeah, he's not a nice guy. Neither is his brother. We'll get on that one of these days. But that's interesting, Jaime. I didn't know you caught up with those things. Excellent. I want to talk about the Tucker Carlson interview, okay? Before we get into some of the craziness that I'm sure we're all chomping at the bit for. Again, I got to catch up a little bit. And this happened not even a week ago, I believe. Tucker Carlson, okay, went into Russia. And you would think if you watch or you pump anything into Google or a regular search engine about Tucker Carlson's interview, you would think that Tucker Carlson is like a lapdog to Vlad Putin. You would think that Tucker Carlson was being paid by Russia the way China is paying Joe Biden. That's what you would think based on, how these sycophants in the mainstream media, being sycophants is just nothing more than having their nose up the rear corridor there of the deep state and being paid and owned by the deep state. So Danger is Anthony Weiner. Oh, that's right, Jaime. That's right. I thought, what was John Podesta's? I can't remember what John Podesta's was. But yes, you're right. What's her name? Huma now is with somebody different. And you know who it is? It's Soros's crackpot son. Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, Renee. Good to see you. So, no, the other Renee. Got another one on the line here. So, Anthony Weiner, that's right. So, Huma Abedin now is the main squeeze, if you will, of Alex Soros. Yeah, Soros's kid. What a great kid he must be. He wants you to own nothing and be happy about it and eat crickets. So Tucker Carlson interviewed Vlad Putin, right? So here's some things that Vlad Putin said. And what really struck me was, and not completely and in a surprising way, because I have listened to Vladimir Putin's speeches before. He's not like our presidents. Even Donald Trump. He's articulate and funny as all get out, I think, especially when he goes off on somebody. But they don't talk for a long time. They really don't. Certainly not in any extensive detail based on many different things. But Vladimir Putin has no compunction whatsoever against talking long. He will go on for hours. And what he did was he gave a history lesson which if anyone has read history, you will find that everything was right and accurate about what he said, according to, history 101, if you will. But he went all the way back to, I think it was the 9th century, and talked about Russia, what happened there. Not everything that, he could have said more. I think he could have been more detailed, especially about the Bolsheviks and who owns them. So he gave a very comprehensive speech, did Vladimir Putin. And hey, Nick, good to see you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jaime. Jaime's going to bust down the door any minute with a hostile takeover because I missed Carlos Danger. Sorry, man. So Vladimir Putin was basically telling everybody, hey, this is why we went into Ukraine. Without telling everybody, this is why we went into Ukraine. You see? And people in the mainstream media in this country can't handle anything other than being in the tank for, basically the usual suspects. So they're not able to speak about what the dynamics of that Tucker Carlson, Vlad Putin interview was all about, because that's exactly why they do what they do, by screaming at their guests, calling their guests names, and then cutting to a commercial break before their guest has any chance to explain themselves. So don't look to the mainstream media to give you any accurate information on the Tucker Carlson, Vladimir Putin interview. Check it out. You can check it out. It's on X. I'm sure it's all over YouTube and everything too. So Vladimir Putin said basically that using the dollar, and then he was referring to it was a question. It was more of a how would you say, an observation by Tucker Carlson. But he says, using the dollar as a tool of foreign policy struggle is one of the biggest strategy mistakes of U.S. political leadership. Those were his words, Vladimir Putin. And I go back to what this pertains to, those sanctions that the idiots, and I want to say other things, but I'm not going to say it, these idiots, okay, in the West, to coin a phrase from, and I just have to say the R word, it's just to coin a phrase, you never go full, you never do that. You never do that. And the U.S. and NATO went full. They did it. Okay? You don't do that. They did it. When you put the sanctions on Russia, what are they going to do? They're going to find friends that are much friendlier than the sanctioning nations. And they did it. They got the BRICS nations, right? So now, not only are they not needing the U.S. dollar anymore, okay, a natural resource rich nation like Russia, an oil rich nation like Russia, okay, energy rich, everything. They're selling it to people outside of the U.S. dollar. Do you remember what our U.S. dollar was pegged to? Oil. Ladies and gentlemen, we have complete imbeciles running this show. Clown World is literally run by the clowns. I'm not kidding you. I don't know which one's driving, but there's like 17 of them in this car. So everyone, let's kick down Chris's studio doors. Hey guys, we got Jorel in the back. These are the interns that help us with the show. And Renee, we're gonna have a pitchfork and torch crowd coming after us in a minute because I didn't know my stuff on the conspiracy theory like I should have. But in all fairness, Jaime, that's what you're watching her for, right? I mean, aren't you quality control? I mean, you're retired and everything. What else are you gonna do? I bet you're hiding from your wife because she's after you with that to-do list again. I'm sure that's it. Anyway, also, Vlad Putin, I call him Vlad, like, I drink beers with him on the weekends, right? Vlad described the internal forces of the USSR and their aggression towards China. Okay? This is me. These are just a few notes I took during the interview. I think what he really means to say, and you could differ, is that those internal forces he was talking about in the USSR, Soviet Russia, are the same forces, okay, we're going back to the Bolsheviks, as what are driving this clown world we have in the Western Hemisphere right now. Maybe not. Also, he spoke on being a Christian and what it meant to be a Christian, and how Russia has been open to many faiths, and how basically how to maintain a Christian worldview when you're a leader. And Tucker said this in a different way, in a different interview, basically that, hey, if you're a leader, you got to kill people. But basically, Vladimir Putin said simple: we don't attack, we only defend. Now, of course, in the news, they're going to say, oh, they attacked Ukraine. But wasn't Ukraine overthrown by Western forces in 2014? Well, maybe not the whole nation, but their ruling faction was. That was overthrown. You can look it up. Yeah, I'm not lying. Jim, good to see you. Eddie Basanazan. Good to see you, Eddie. So, oh, and also, and this was a good one, and this will be the last one for the Vladimir Putin interview. That would be cool to get him on the show. You guys think it would be cool, Renee? Would that be cool to have Vlad here in the studio? I mean, it'd probably be full with all the FSB agents in here too, but I think that'd be cool. But the last thing I do need to say about this is that Tucker Carlson asked him, who blew up Nord Stream? Putin said, you did, for sure. So basically they went back and forth, and, Vladimir Putin says the CIA did it. The CIA did it. So I think we kind of knew who did it all along. This, guys, Jeff, good to see you, is from Zero Hedge. I'm telling you, I've said this before about the economy. It really blows. Yeah, I mean, to be, quite precise in my verbiage, it blows. It really does. Listen to this. This is out of Zero Hedge. Garbage deals, okay? We're talking about cars. Dealership puts customers in cars with $3,000 monthly payments. $3,000, guys. $3,000 a month. We're not talking about, gas included, insurance included. No, we're talking just a vehicle. Okay? These are posts from X, right? So the guy's name is Clown World. How apropos, right? They shared what appears to be, these two posts, shared what appears to be an auto dealer sharing several images online. Okay, so one of them had somebody who purchased a 2023 Tahoe. Their payments were $2,550 a month on an 84-month term. The other one was the $3,000 one. It was a 23 Sierra Denali. $3,000 a month for 96 months. 96 months, guys. That is insane. And then this guy, he commented, Caballero on X says, 280, I guess he did the math, $288,000 for a truck that will depreciate to 1/5 of its worth long before it's paid off. That's insane. Tim, apparently I was on the wrong stream. Oh, well, at least you made it. Better late than never, Tim. 1 dead, 22 injured after shots fired at Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Wow. And that was last night, guys. I did these notes, some of these notes last night. So, Lord willing, no one else was killed or hurt. But the fact of the matter is, it's the usual suspects are up and about. Let's just put it that way. Who's to blame for the elite extreme left? Okay. And I got a couple more, and then we'll get on what you were talking about, Matt. That's interesting, and we do need to cover that. So, who's to blame for the elite extreme left? This is from the Epoch Times, okay? I've commented on the leftist extremism prevailing on many of our university campuses. The Rasmussen survey suggests the establishment media bears some of the blame for the elites' attitudes. Now, remember, I don't call the elites, who they fashion themselves as elites, I don't call them elites, I call them parasites. So it's not an elite class of people, it's a parasite class. And they want to suck the life out of you and me along with our money. They just call themselves elites because it makes them feel better. So Rasmussen designates the politically obsessed elite have a very favorable opinion of journalists, which means we know they're crazy. We know they're nuts, and they're off their rocker. This survey also suggests that the prestige universities bear much of the blame as well. prestige universities like Harvard and, its former director who plagiarized, lied, stole. That's the moral there. 76% of the politically obsessed elite have very favorable opinion of professors. We're going to get to that in just a second. Roughly half of the entire elite attended at least one of 12 prestigious universities. So these parasites tend to hang out in a dozen different locales: Berkeley, Chicago, Columbia, Cornell, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, MIT, Northwestern, Penn, remember that one, Penn, Princeton, Stanford, and Yale. This last one, and then we'll get on to that stuff you were talking about, Matt. The Gateway Pundit had this to say: Penn State professor, Penn, charged with animal cruelty after being caught having sex with his pet dog, faces additional charges after video emerges of him sticking a tree branch and a lollipop into his in a public setting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we send our kids off to. Well, we don't have enough money to send them to Penn, but some people do. And these are the people teaching our kids. Hey, you want to learn how to ram in the park? In a shocking development, and acclaimed, no less, Penn State professor Themis Metsoukas, who was previously charged with animal cruelty after being caught engaging in bestiality with his pet dog, is now facing additional charges following the revelation of further disturbing acts captured on videos, the New York Post has reported. The case has now escalated with the emergence of new footage. Wow, I don't want to see that. That allegedly shows Matsoukas inserting a tree in it. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people teaching your kids. Are they all like that? No, we know this. Okay, I'm being facetious. Okay, we know this. They are not all like this. But once you decide that you're going to throw away, you're going to eschew all morals, be you an atheist, an agnostic, whatever it is your faith is, because it takes a lot of faith to be atheist or agnostic. You really have to believe in nothing, sort of like a nihilist. So you really do lose a lot when you throw those morals out. And we're seeing it in our so-called colleges, universities. Now, we're going to go back, Matt, to what your comment was earlier about Fannie Willis. Fannie. Maybe we ought to make a song like, you may or may not remember the show Cheers. And I think most of you are old enough to remember that. Old enough. And in Cheers, one of Matt DiPiola's favorite songs was called Kelly. And I don't think it had any other words in it but Kelly. Kelly. Yeah, and Woody was in love with Kelly. Why don't we make that one about Fannie? Huh, Matt? We ought to do that. Let's do that with AI or something like that. But on Fannie Willis, this woman is whacked. Fannie Willis, if you remember, is the woman who, I believe she ran for district attorney on the platform. It was a one-subject platform, a one-issue platform, and I think the title of it was Get Trump. She ran on that. She didn't care what she was going to do to get Trump. She didn't care how she was going to get Trump, but she was just going to get Trump. Well, now if you've been paying attention, you know that once she got the control of the prosecution of Donald Trump for some stupid made-up reason, there's so many of these stupid made-up court cases now that I really have to think before I say, because I know Jaime might castigate me once again because I might get it wrong. But this time, I'm pretty sure that this one here involved the valuation of his Mar-a-Lago estate. And please correct me if I'm wrong. And not with beating down the door, Jaime. Eileen, good to see you, kiddo. So Fannie Willis, what she did was she took taxpayer money to prosecute Donald Trump. And once she got this taxpayer money, she went out and she hired the best of the no, not the best. One of the best. No, he wasn't one of a mediocre. No. In fact, the prosecutor actually had never once, not even once, prosecuted a felony before. And neither have I. So I guess we have that in common. So she hired this guy, Wade. Help me out, guys. Wade. Can't remember his last name. Anyway, or I think his last name was Wade, something like that. But Fannie and Wade, great couple, right? They, with the taxpayers' money that she paid Wade, were going to Belize on cruises. They were going to California, which of course we know that they weren't living in California. This was, I believe, a Fulton County prosecution. So the people of Fulton County, the good people of Fulton County, okay, not including, of course, these two, because they're not good, paid for those trips. So this is the kind of thing that we're going on. This is the kind of activity that, Matt, if you're still with us, throw some sticks on the fire, if you will, because there have been many different things that are going on with this. And this is just one of, I want to say 3 right now, court cases going on against Donald Trump. So you have the one in Fulton County. You have the one in Washington, D.C., and I want to say there's one more. I just can't remember. And then once those are over, or they probably won't be over until they try to taint the election, but they'll probably have a couple more coming up. But what we are seeing, what we're gathering, basically, is that they will do whatever it takes. They will say whatever it takes to try and eliminate the opposition, because their guy, I don't know if you want to call him Grandpa Mushmouth, or you want to call him the resident, whatever you want to call him. I mean, he's going to be on his way out fairly soon, and we can talk about that too in a minute. But what we see out of this Fulton County mess is corruption at its worst. Maybe not at its worst, okay? Because I'm sure the January 6th sham trials are worse than this. But what we are seeing is the destruction in real time of the old guard, of the deep state, because they are throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, Fannie and Wade, at Donald Trump, and it's not working. It's missing, largely, bigly. And what's going on and what's going to happen is they're going to disenfranchise pretty much anyone who has enough brain cells to stay away from a television. And that's more and more of us every day. So what's going to happen is that they're going to arrest Donald Trump one of these days. They're going to put him in jail. And then he's going to make shirts that, I'm going to buy. Other people are going to buy them. And he's just going to make more campaign money. And then he may even, as the world watches and laughs, because this is all ridiculous, he may even win the presidency behind bars. And then he'll come out and, Ian, good to see you. And then he'll take care of business. And that's going to be that. But the fact of the matter is, these people are showing themselves for who they are. It's not hard to see anymore, unless you're watching TV. That's a problem, everybody. That is definitely a problem. So Matt puts up the Stop the Steal hashtag. Those that scream the loudest have the most to lose. Absolutely. And you know who that brings to mind, Matt? I was looking at X today. That foolish man, Stephen King. Now, if you believe it exists, or if you believe it is real, there is a list, a flight list, and I've seen pictures of a flight log. It could have been, who knows? Could have been, fraudulent, whatever you want to, put there. But it sure looked real. It sure did. And there were a lot of names on there that would surprise you. And old Stevie Boy was on there. Free Ryan Landrum. Oh, Jaime, enlighten us. The name sounds familiar. Give us some context, Jaime. Hernandez Vaya, good to see you. So, what I'm trying to get at here is that as we watch the devolution of the deep state, we need to be on our guard. Why do we need to be on our guard? Because things are going to happen. These people don't lose gracefully. So, when you heard Donald Trump speaking months ago, saying that we were going to be brought to war, we're going to be brought to the brink of war, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be this close to going to war. We're going to be this close. In my opinion, I believe we're going to be this close to having them tell us that our kids are going to be drafted. And I don't mean just our young men, because they're going to want to draft the young women because, well, it's all about fairness nowadays, right? So why not, just take them all because they don't care. So we're going to have threat of war. We're going to have, they're already talking about this cybersecurity incident. I think they're going to blame this one on Russia, maybe China, or both. Wars. Oh, wars and rumors of wars. That sound familiar, anybody? Wars and rumors of wars. We have Ukraine. We have Gaza, which Israel is committing the thing that they're doing, that they blamed Palestine doing to them. They're now doing it 100-fold to Palestine. So we're going to get it. We're going to be either get into it, or our criminal politicians are going to, those Republicans and those Democrats are going to threaten to get us into that, right? We have Iran. They want to go into Iran. These old, feeble men like Mitch McConnell, or was it Mitch McConnell? Or was it the other guy who wanted to go into Iran, wanted to bomb Tehran? Bomb Tehran. Why don't we bomb Tehran? What a jackass. These people don't care. All they care about is saving themselves, because there is a mountain, ladies and gentlemen, a mountain of evidence that they are being blackmailed with. What do you think Epstein Island was all about? Epstein Island was a blackmail factory. They were making blackmail. Hey, we'll come in. You can have fun. There's a beach. There's parties. Oh, and there's girls. Yeah, boys. Yeah, those sick freaks. They were filming it all. They had judges. They had world leaders. They had, world leaders. They had CEOs. They had bankers. They had politicians. I might have said that. Reporters. Authors. Steve, authors, and they made blackmail. So these people cannot afford for Donald Trump to get in office, because when Donald Trump gets in office, the people that recruited Donald Trump, and I believe this, are coming after him. And it's going to be great, because justice will be had. Justice will be had. So what we're seeing now is an all assets deployed offensive press by the deep state, the cabal, the Khazarian mafia, whatever you want to call them. They're out for blood because they hate us. They hate us. They don't like us at all. They think we're taking their food, their resources. That's why they want to take our food. But especially, I don't know if you've seen the Dutch and the French. They are not having it. Certainly not. It's about halfway. Well, we're a little bit past halfway through. And I want to do what Joe taught me to do. Basically a recap. We're on 97.7 KCYP The City out of McAllen, Texas. Local radio, right? We're going on Facebook. We're going on YouTube. We're going out on TuneIn, It's a radio app, right? And Radio Garden is another radio app. Check them out. I like them. So I guess all the things that are going on now, and you know what? I forgot. Nobody threw this up there. The shooting at Joel Osteen's church. Man, things are getting crazy, ladies and gents. Things are getting crazy. And then Renee, you said something about Bitcoin.
Yeah, supposedly there's a
new
law that they're going to get the Biden administration.
Yeah, the Biden administration. Yeah, as if he could administer anything. So apparently, and I need to check this out. I'll get back with you next week, or if somebody knows something about it, throw a link up, please. The Biden administration wants to, or does he want to tax, or he wants them to basically, he wants to dox them, right? He wants to know who it is that's mining Bitcoin, and that you have to report that you're mining Bitcoin. Wow. This, in 2024, a real reporter, which there are very few left, named Tucker Carlson, went to Russia to interview the president of Russia. Now, had this happened in the 1980s, I think we would probably see a polar opposite as far as the paradigm goes, as far as the scenario goes. And this is where I'm going with this. Tucker Carlson went from a communist country called the United States of America. It has communist leadership. Into a, if not free, because there's a lot of things that need to be fixed in Russia also, a freer nation with a successful GDP. And in the 80s, it would have been the other way around. Well, the Soviets wouldn't have been able to come in and interview our president, Reagan, at the time, right? But someone from, and there was a movie made of this, Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams. He made his way into America. I don't know if he defected, whatever it was, I can't remember. But he found himself one day inside of a supermarket. And he was amazed. He was amazed because he's looking around and he was used to like ration cards, and he was used to things being all out at the little store that was probably his, 8x8 or 8x10 little shop. And then he gets into a supermarket in America. He was hyperventilating and just had this experience of, what, look at this. There's stuff everywhere. So, Tino, good to see you. So Tucker Carlson goes into, and I don't know if he was thinking about this. I don't know if he was channeling Robin Williams or not, but he went into, while he was at Russia, he went into a supermarket. He had a video. It's out there on X, right? So Tucker Carlson goes into a grocery store in Russia, and he starts buying stuff. And for what, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say that what he bought for a week was like $100 worth of groceries. What he would have eaten in a whole week only cost him $100 in Russia. But here, for a week, I want to say he was in the hundreds, like $600-700. I can't remember how much it was. I don't know how much he eats. I'm not calling him fat, but the price of groceries nowadays here in the United States is many times over that of the price in Russia. Why? Because of central banking, ladies and gentlemen, because of inflation. The central bank as a cancer is a huge tumor, and every branch is another little tumor inside the body of the economy of the United States. And it's killing us economically. It is strangling us, literally, sometimes, because people can't eat. People can't pay the bills because their dollar is not worth what it used to be. The percentage, I want to say, is 56% of people now in America have more than one job. 56%. It's crazy, man. When these job numbers come up, the administration says that, job numbers are up, job numbers are up. Why are job numbers up? Because fewer people have full-time jobs. And they got to get a second part-time job to make up for what they lost not being on full-time anymore. yeah, this is really happening in America. So a guy like Tucker Carlson goes over to Russia and he saves some money. He saves some money because he's in Russia instead of on our economy, where everything's just crazy because we're living in clown world. I wish I was exaggerating. I really do. But the fact of the matter is, our economy's in the crapper. And that's why, part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen. I do this because I knew that I had to do something to help protect my family and not let whatever little bit of money I have in the bank, go poof with the US dollar when it goes, when it craters. I believe this is happening. I'm not putting you in my jackpot. This is just what I believe is possible. It's a potential. We have to all think about these things. We have to think about negative as well as positive potentials, things that may or may not happen. If we're the head of a household, if we don't think about these things, well, we're not being very responsible, are we? Even if the household just includes you. You want to think best and worst case scenarios and everything in between that you possibly can. You don't break your brain over it. And you don't, ruminate on it all day, every day. But especially if you have a family, if there's, little ones relying on you, don't you want to make sure that if something bad happens, you can still provide for them? I know I do. And that's what brought me to the conclusion that as our money, as what we call money, devalues, that we're able to do less and less with whatever we have. So saving money, preserving the value of what we have is a good idea in my way of thinking. So again, my big four, if you have enough, I would love to, but you just can't do it. You buy some land. If you don't have that, you can buy some gold. And that's pretty expensive too, 2,000 ounces, as I said earlier. If not silver. And then you can also buy Bitcoin. Okay? Bitcoin, and a lot of people don't know this. Yes, Bitcoin is up to $52,000 one Bitcoin. But you don't have to buy a Bitcoin at a time. You buy it little by little. You can buy it weekly. You can buy it monthly. You can buy it every other week, every other month, whatever you want to do. Or you don't buy it at all. It's your choice. But the fact is, it's there. If you want to learn more about it, throw me an email. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability. I don't know it all, of course, but I know more than the beginner. I know a little more than the beginner. I guess you could call me intermediate. Julian, good to see you. Julian, one of these days we'll get him back on the show. So all that to say, and we'll be closing out pretty soon. And I appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate everybody watching. And before we close out, if you have anything else you want to talk about, throw it up there. But what I wanted to do, and what I was, chomping at the bit to get back in front of you and in front of the camera and here at the station, on the air live, McAllen, Texas. A great opportunity, a great blessing. What I wanted to do was talk about this craziness, but not just talk about it, but let you know that it's going to be okay. It's going to get crazier, I believe. It's going to get crazier. And we can't lose hope. We just can't, because there's a lot to hope for. Okay? We're going to go through some difficult times. I think we're going to go through some funny times too. Because if you can't laugh about this stuff, you're going to cry, right? So the going bet, I guess you could say, right now would be, as far as the presidential race goes, would be the current resident being made, and I think this is pretty much necessary for the Democrats. They need to make Joe Biden the forerunner, the delegate. They need to make him, their guy. And then after that, they're going to get rid of him. They're going to, I think it's probably going to be the 25th Amendment that they threatened Trump with, basically, being incompetent. But the evidence has mounted overwhelmingly. Coinbase. Oh, so Julian brings up, yes, he does say Bitcoin's doing awesome. Julian says Coinbase with a question mark. Pros and cons. Okay. Pros and cons of Coinbase. Personally, I'm not on Coinbase. I tried when I first started with Bitcoin to get on Coinbase, and I found there was some hurdle that I wasn't jumping right or whatever, and I went to I think it's called not Kraken. It'll come to me, but I went to a different exchange. Okay, and the reason why I don't is because I haven't bought other altcoins or whatever for a while now. I've been using Cash App to buy my Bitcoin, and then I take it from Cash App directly to my wallet. But Coinbase is interesting because at some level, I suspect, and this is me, guys, this is me. I suspect that at some level, Coinbase has been, Omar, good to see you. Coinbase has been co-opted by the bad guys. I think this is me. And they're going to hit me. I don't know if they're going to hit me with whatever libel or whatever. But I think that at some level, Coinbase is cooperating with the usual suspects. And I don't know how. I don't get a good feeling from them. Pros from Coinbase, it's the biggest. It's by far the biggest. I have read also, though, that their customer service is not that good. So these are all things I've read. I haven't experienced it. But again, there are other options out there besides just exchanges. There are good swaps out there. Pancake Swap is one of them. I've used Tim says, in what sense like Robinhood? You mean in what sense? Oh, you mean like Robinhood? Tim, are you trying to say that Robinhood is also in bed with the usual suspects? If that's what you mean? Yes, to a degree. I think that, and those of you that haven't opened up an account with an exchange, a cryptocurrency exchange, what they normally ask, and not all of them, but what most of them ask, and Coinbase most definitely does, is for KYC, know your customer. So they want to know everything. They want a copy of your license. They want to know all that stuff. And, at this point, after everything was, stolen and it was in Joe's garage, and the Chinese have everything. They've got it all. Don't think that anything you have is going to be secret from them. If it's ever been on a computer, if it's ever been on your phone, they're going to have it, right? So, allegedly, yeah. So Robinhood bowed to the usual suspects in that short squeeze with GameStop. I think I don't know if it was Netflix, or I don't know if you guys know, Netflix has a special. It's going to be a story about that short squeeze that the little guys did against the big guys, and that was awesome. It was just superb. Couldn't last forever, and it didn't, but it was good while it lasted. So Coinbase, I think, reports everything and passes on all the information to the usual suspects under the auspices, legal requirements, okay, legal compliance and all that kind of stuff. But it's just, to me, it smacks of, hey, we're as bad as a bank. That's just me, though. Julian says BlackRock has a large stake in Coinbase. See, there you go. That's the answer right there. BlackRock is very much part of the problem. I would have no doubt if BlackRock was one of the vultures that came in on Maui after that the Dew attack. Cash App is owned by Square, okay, and SQ. Tim, it's a good movie. Oh, you saw it already, Tim? Okay, so yeah, check that out, guys. So the thing we're referencing is there was GameStop is a popular stock with younger people who gamers and this and that, but also it had I think it had a mystique to it at some point. It was gaining in value, and I had something to do with a short squeeze, meaning the small guys, if I remember this, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, the small guys wouldn't liquidate when the usual buttons for liquidation were supposed to be hit. When, you have your automatic, flags on your computer program and stuff, they didn't liquidate. They didn't sell, if I'm correct. And they were holding it. And the reason they did that was because the big guys couldn't hold on forever, and they were getting squeezed. So they lost, the big guys for a change lost money. If I followed that correctly. But yeah, Coinbase, you're not going to, I don't think anyway, you're not going to have to deal with too much if you do it the right way in crypto, meaning you follow the first rule of crypto. You don't leave your coins on the exchange. So you buy what you want to buy. You exchange, like the first thing, probably the easiest thing to do is you buy your Bitcoin. You can buy it there on the exchange. You can buy it on Cash App. You can buy it from an ATM nowadays. But you buy your Bitcoin and you go up to the exchange if you want to use an exchange. You can also do a swap, right? So you go up to the exchange and you put your Bitcoin down for some whatever you want. Again, I'm not shy about telling you my favorite, which is Theta. So, so Tim says, yeah, correct. They held using the term hodl. Yeah, hold on for dear life. So BlackRock has a percentage of Cash App as well, says Julian. Well, it seems to me that BlackRock is into everything nowadays. But, and this is going maybe down a rabbit hole we won't have a lot of time to go down today. The monetary system of our country, ladies and gentlemen, is at some point going to have to shift. Okay? I think, and this is just an I think. I don't have any evidence, and I haven't seen anything. And if anybody has, throw it up, but I haven't seen anything indicating it. But there has to be an on-ramp that the good guys are ready to deploy. Okay? They're going to have to deploy it at some point because we know the bad guys have an on-ramp and it goes straight to hell. It's called central bank digital currencies. Okay? They have that ready. So they're prepared for when their system crashes. When they crash their very own system, they're prepared, okay, to solve our problem that they created. The Hegelian dialect is what they call it. So they create a problem. They already have the solution, which is something they want. They create a problem. We cry out in agony. And then they come out with the solution that they already had held behind their back. We can fix it. Look, central bank digital currencies. We'll own everything. We'll take everything you have. So all that to say, we have a lot of changes coming. But I appreciate, we had some good conversation today. Thanks, guys. So I'll go back to a little bit earlier in the show, Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies, his venture capitalist fund that owns 190,000 Bitcoin. They just don't stop. They plow into Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow. Because at 52,500 or whatever it is right now, it's a steal. According to the MIT grad, Michael Saylor, the billionaire. That guy has a much bigger education and bank account than me. But that's not why I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in Bitcoin because I've investigated it. I've looked it up. I've researched it. And it's solid. It's solid. To me, I'm not pushing it. You don't have to buy it if you don't want it. But to me, it hits all the boxes on sound storage of wealth, of value. So that's why I like it. And for many other reasons, which you may or may not have heard, but I will extol them on next week's show. So thank you very much. I very much appreciate everybody watching. Everybody who's watching, later, whatever, if you guys want, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. We'll talk about the subjects you want to, hear about and engage about. We had some good engagement today. I really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you very much. We're going to sign out. You guys have a great and blessed week. Bye.